and I wanted to be at the right place at the right time. I always wanted to be one of the first few people. I always dreamed of being part of something from the very, very beginning. And let's face it, for a majority of us, it doesn't matter if you've been alive for 20 years or 50 years or 80 years. I think many of us could agree. Majority of us never had the opportunity to be part of something from day one, to be involved in something and actually having the information of movement, having the information of a huge opportunity before it actually begun. I think many of us could agree that we never had that opportunity. What's so unique about what's happening right now with GPS is that we have that opportunity. You have that opportunity. Whatever city that you're tuning in from right now, you're probably the very first person, if not very first few people in your city, in your state, that knows about this opportunity GPS. You're probably the only person that you know in your inner circle who are fully taking advantage of the biggest technology shift that will happen during your 2020s, which is the virtual reality and augmented reality implementation that is taking place right now and that will be taking place in a major way in the next few years of time. You're probably the only person that you know that is getting involved right now and that is part of an opportunity that will be focusing on distribution of HMD, the VR devices, and providing live practical content and positioning yourself to capitalize and get paid and have opportunity with EBP, experience before purchase commerce. You're probably the only person positioned to do that right now out of everybody you know, out of all the inner circle that you may be part of, that you've been building your network for the last 30, 40, 50 years. It's a very unique opportunity for all of us to come together to launch this company together in America. So I want to start off this Good Morning GPS episode number 1 by officially saying congratulations and welcome to GPS. This is a very special opportunity that we are providing for so many people around the world. And in short 3 months of time, we already have over 17,000 influencers who are partner up with us, and with America now surpassing 2,000 and some ID numbers for influencers. That means in short 3 months of time, we have almost 20,000 influencers involved in our opportunity. And just like Mr. Michaelon said, we haven't even done a single physical presentation yet anywhere we are doing business in. We're waiting for the quarantine to be over. We're waiting for this health crisis to calm down and get under control so we could start seeing face-to-face on top of the virtual system we're launching. But this morning, I'm not here to talk so much about the opportunity or product or the compensation. I want to talk to you for the next 20 minutes or so about the proper preparation and proper mindset that you want to have for you to truly maximize this opportunity. But before that, let's just go over the facts. You're the very first person in your inner circle to probably hear about this opportunity. You're part of being a pre-launch, and the reality is GPS pre-launch in America will never happen again. Virtual reality technology shift, it's probably going to be the biggest shift of technology that you have ever experienced in your lifetime. And number 4 is being at the top of something, being involved in something before it begins. It's a very unique opportunity. Just today, we started GPS Japan presentation on Zoom, just starting today. Very first official one hosted by the company, just started today. Over 400 attendees attended the presentation in Japan just 5 hours ago, and we haven't even enrolled one influencer yet in Japan because we haven't launched Japan yet. You know, with all 3 countries right now at full speed of people wanting to be part of GPS, wanting to learn about GPS, it brings us at a very unique opportunity. Now, here's another exciting fact. You ready for this? The top position of GPS, which is 200K, we don't have a single 200K in the company yet. And you know how exciting that is? Because it gives you an opportunity that maybe you're going to be the first one. Maybe you're going to introduce someone that's going to be the first one. What if you introduce someone and they introduce someone and they introduce someone and that person becomes the very first 200K in GPS? We don't even have a single 150K, which is the second highest position in the company. We don't have a single person there yet. We don't even have a 100K, which is the third highest level in the company. We don't have a single 100K yet. In Korea, we have one 75K so far. It's just getting started, but already someone is at 75K. So we're excited because in America, we don't have anybody at these levels yet. And you could be the very first. You could be one of the first. You could be the first 10 people to get in these levels. And I'm telling you, your story will be part of GPS story forever and ever, even many decades to come. Now, let's talk a little bit about pioneer and being a visionary and being and taking advantage of this opportunity. It is a different mindset to take advantage of an opportunity in the beginning versus walking into something that's already set up. You know, I could tell you, when I first got started in the industry 20 years ago, when I was 18 years old, and I was studying music, I was studying architecture, and I wanted more in life, and I was invited to my first presentation to learn about the opportunity, and I tell you, when I walked into a small presentation in an apartment room of 8 people, and they talked about the concept of e-commerce. They talked about the concept of being an entrepreneur, free enterprise, leveraging and residual and building something. I got excited, but let me tell you something. That organization just started 2 weeks prior to me seeing the presentation. So because of it, there wasn't a single expert in the marketplace. But you know what that did for us? We became the expert. We had to become the expert right away. We were the first ones to start in Las Vegas with that company from California. But let me tell you what was exciting. We didn't know how to get trained. Now, right now, it's cool. We're on Zoom. We have people from Hawaii. We have people from New York. We have myself from Korea. And we're all seeing face to face. And this is cool. But 20 years ago, I remember having a cell phone on a speakerphone, Nextel. I don't know if any of you remember Nextel. If you're in 20s, you may not remember. You don't even know what Nextel is because they've been gone for a while. But I remember having a Nextel cell phone. It was a flip phone, and it was the coolest flip phone that my buddy Vinny had. And it was the coolest one. And I remember all of us were like tripping out because this phone, let me tell you, his Nextel had a speakerphone. Can you believe it? Cell phone actually had a speakerphone. I can tell you 20 years ago, many cell phones didn't have a speakerphone. So he had a cell phone with speakerphone, which was so cool. And I remember every Monday night, we got together at his house. And because we didn't have any local leaders, I remember we would gather around in the living room, and he'll put the phone in the middle and put it on speaker with the flip phone open. And we used to pay. I know you may not believe me on this, but I remember we used to pay per minute for long distance calls. We used to pay long distance charge per minute on that flip phone on a Nextel right there in the middle of a living room, and 20, 30 of us will gather around, grab our journal, and we will take notes from leaders from California sharing. Now, we couldn't see like what we see, but we were taking notes. And I remember tuning into conference calls like that, learning the fundamentals of the business, learning the philosophy of being an entrepreneur, learning how to become an entrepreneur, learning how to be a pioneer, learning how to have a better vision sight than eyesight, and learning how to toughen our mental state where you become bulletproof and having a bulletproof mindset. And I remember just gathering around a speaker phone, a flip phone, and listening to trainings and taking notes and letting it develop us, letting it grow us and change us. I could tell you those moments is what started me on a journey of personal development. Those moments is what helped me to start changing my, changing me. A lot of people say, well, I don't want to change. Well, you know, here's the way I look at it. If you want different results in life, then you need to change. If you don't want answer to keep popping up as 4, then stop putting in 2 plus 2. If you put 3 plus 3, guess what? You're not gonna get 4. You know, somebody said, this is who I am. No, he said, but are you happy? Like, if you're 100% happy with the results that you have right now, it will be oxymoron for someone to say, hey, I'm not happy where I'm at. I've been here for 5 years ago, it was the same. 10 years ago, it was the same. I'm not happy where I'm at. This is where I want to be, but they said I refuse to change. Well, that's crazy. My mentor, Mr. Jim Rohn, said, if you change, everything will change for you. My mentor said, Danny, stop looking at the future based on your past and who you are today. He said, your future doesn't have to. You got to make a decision. You could either decide how you want the future to be and let your dream change you to start changing you to match your dream. He said, you could decide how you want your life to be. You could design it, and you could let that change you to match your dream. Or you could go out there and have your future match who you are today. He said, that's your choice. You got to decide, do you want your future, which has incredible potential? Do you want your future, which in my opinion, I believe that every single person was created on this earth for a great purpose. And I believe that every single person has potential to do amazing things in their lives, whatever area that may be. But whatever that area, whatever your future could be, do you want to change you to match that? Or do you want that to change from being great? In my opinion, everybody has great purpose, but change from being great to match you of who you are today, how you are today, to continue to live your life the way you've been living. My answer, now I'm not telling you to do this, my answer when I first had that conversation 20 years ago with my mentor was, no, I want to change me. I want to change me to match the life that I want. And somebody said, what does that mean by changing? Well, you know, I changed a lot. Can I tell you something? You don't want to work with Danny Bay from 20 years ago. Let me tell you how Danny Bay 20 years ago was. Number one, my appearance was pretty ghetto. I mean, you talk about somebody ghetto, times that by 10, that was me. You know, I had one long hair like this long. I had spiky hair. I wasn't supposed to have orange hair, but I had orange hair. And I was, you know, 20 pounds lighter than now, but I was wearing 3 extra large, and my waist was probably only, I don't know, 30 or 31, but I was probably wearing size 40 waist pants, and it wasn't supposed to be like that. You know, I had big chains that could have been used as a weapon. I mean, it was just weird. You know, you didn't want, if you have kids, you didn't want your kids to hang out with me. I was not the guy that you will encourage your kids to go spend time with. But that was me, okay? But however, that person, I didn't want my future to match that. You know, I changed. Somebody said, oh, you changed. Yeah, of course I did. You know how negative I used to be? Everything you say, my first response would be, I can't do that. No, I don't know how to do that. When my mentor said, hey, Danny, you're gonna present tonight, I said, I can't do that. I said, yeah, but I know you can't because you've never done it. But as soon as you do it, you could do it. You just got to do it. I said, no, I'm not good at it. Well, I mean, I was so negative. Like, I was so negative. If you put me in a dark room, I would have started to develop because I was so negative. But those of you in 20s, you wouldn't understand it because you've never seen a negative of film of a camera. But anyways, that's besides the point. But going back to what I was talking about, I was not person. I used to think small. I used to doubt myself. I used to think that I couldn't do anything. I didn't speak, I didn't even speak English well 20 years ago. I only lived in America for 4 years at the time. So, but I changed from what? Couldn't speak in front of 5 people to now I have spoken to hundreds of thousands of people. I've spoken on stage in front of my own event that I created, that I host and plan and start and finish and close and make all the announcements from planning to execution to putting 15,000 people event. I've done it multiple times. How? But I couldn't even speak in front of 5 people 20 years ago. Why? Because I changed. I knew what I wanted, and I let my future and my dream change me. You know, if somebody like said, hey, you don't become basketball player because you're good at playing basketball. No, that kid set a goal to become an NBA athlete. And because he had a goal or she had a goal to do that, boom, it changed him to be better. If somebody doesn't understand all about law or medical, and that's not why they became a doctor or lawyer. The truth is, they had a goal to become a lawyer. They had a goal to be a doctor. That's why it changed them from not knowing anything about medical, not knowing anything about legal, but it changed them by pouring in information, studying like this, investing the time, investing the energy to develop and get good at areas they needed to get good at for them to go from here to becoming a doctor. For them to go from here, somebody wants to be a singer, you want to be a singer, you got to let it change you and sing better, perform better, dance better, and everything else. Becoming 200K, becoming an entrepreneur, becoming financially independent by building a large distribution channel that will go out there and market these products and services and generate millions of dollars in revenue and become a super leader in this company. You gotta set that goal first and let it change you. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because I'm here to remind you, and I'm gonna remind you every opportunity I get, that we don't even have a single 200K yet. We don't even have 100K yet. Matter of fact, we don't even have a 10K yet. Why? Because we're just getting started yet. We're just getting started. We don't have anybody in leadership position yet. So I don't care how much success or failure you had in the past. GPS, we're all starting this together. You could go out there and build your business, build your customer base, generate your revenue, and build your story as small or as big as you want. There's nothing wrong with being Influencer 500 and making $500 a month in bonuses in MIL. But there's also nothing wrong with building huge customer base, huge revenue, and becoming Influencer 200K and making $200,000 a month in MIL. Both scenarios are okay. Both scenarios are going to take some time. Both scenarios are going to take commitment. And here's the way I look at it. It takes same amount of effort to think big as to think small. And I think sometimes it's more exciting and more fun to think big than it is to think small. So I want to challenge you this morning during our Good Morning GPS very first episode for GPS USA. I want to challenge you to stretch your thinking a little bit. I want to challenge you to think a little bigger than you've been thinking. I want to challenge you to go out there and plan out, what if I could master it? Now, you may not be good at it yet, but we're going to learn together. Somebody said, I don't know anything about VR. Great. I didn't know anything about it a few months ago either, but I've been studying. Every day I'm watching. Every day I'm studying. Every day I'm reading articles. Every day I'm experiencing. You know, and we just launched, and I can't wait. I cannot wait for you guys to start experiencing our VR Lou Mastery Academy and content. We started May 1st. Every day we're releasing brand new travel content on here that's been blowing people's mind. On Friday, May 1st, we added Guam, parasailing in Guam. And people were like, because people can't travel anywhere right now, they were like, oh my gosh, this is like the most amount of healing, emotional experience they had in the last 3 months. I've been hearing that from hundreds of people. You know, just on Monday, we added Sienna, and today we added hanging out under, in underwater, like in the ocean, okay? Swimming around, hanging out with stingrays. While you're sitting in quarantine, I was hanging out with stingrays without having any hard time breathing. I don't know if you like, you know, doing snorkeling. I don't usually like that. Like, you know, it's hard, you know, like, but I was comfortable while I was hanging out with stingray. So, you know, tomorrow we're going to be skiing without freezing and without traveling 15 hours to go somewhere. So, you know, we're adding a brand new travel content every single day this month. I can't wait for you to see it. A Master Accounting course already, 400 classes already produced. I can't wait for you to see it. Today I had an event, I had a meeting, I had a 3-hour meeting with a company that I cannot tell you yet, but this company we're working with right now on some of the future contents. They actually are #1 content creating company in Korea. I mean, if I had to compare them to some other companies in America, they would be almost equivalent to kind of like Disney of Korea. And we have a partnership with them right now, planning out some of the rollouts of these contents, obviously for America, obviously for Japan, obviously for many other countries. I mean, it's so exciting, and it's just gonna blow your mind. But for you to take advantage of all that, all those exciting things happening, it's gonna start with, how big do you think? How big is your dream? How big is your plan? What kind of your GPS business are you designing? Because Mr. Jim Rohn said, it all starts, he said, you have to design it first. He said, you have to design your future first. Before you execute, you gotta design. So I wanna encourage every single one of you at this Good Morning GPS this morning to think big, think huge, plan big, and let it change you. Don't mess up your bright future by you being stuck on what you have done in the past, what you haven't done in the past, and who you are today. All right? Now let's talk a little bit more about being a pioneer. Going into a city that doesn't have street paved, into a city that doesn't have electricity and water, it gives you opportunity. Let's talk about it in modern terms. How about, what if you're one of the first few people that invested in Facebook? Would you be doing all right now? No, I think so. Matter of fact, just 2 months ago, I actually met and physically spent some time with someone that was actually one of the original investors for Facebook. And I could tell you the conversation was out of this world. And he was just sharing, I don't know if it's okay for me to share, so I'm not going to share the amount, but I could tell you, because he was one of the original people that bought into the vision and invested into that, and he was part of it, and he actually held some portion of it until literally 2 years ago. So he pretty much rode the ride the whole time. And, you know, I mean, the amount of multiplication that he got to experience in that, I mean, it's crazy, right? You know, I recently talked to another person who was part of the investment group, you know, that invested in a company, Oculus, which is the #1 VR company in America. And, you know, he was sharing some information about when they first started to where they became, and when they were acquired by Facebook 4 or 5 years ago for over $2 billion. And he was talking about all that. I mean, imagine if you were part of even technology we're using right now. What if you bought stocks for Zoom 3 months ago or 6 months ago? You know, you're smiling a little more right now. You know, so the truth is, if you could be at the right place at the right time, if you could get in the beginning of something, and if you were one of the original members of Airbnb or Uber or all these companies, yes, you don't have more facts and documentations for you to see it, but if you could have the vision to see it, and if you could see it before everybody else sees it, and if you could believe it before everybody else believes it, and if you could take action before everybody else takes action, you know your opportunity is going to be bigger than everybody else that sees it later and gets involved later. You know, I give you an example. Even in direct sales world, just think about it. Even companies, mega companies, just been around for over 61 years, like Amway, multi-billion-dollar corporation. You know, what if you were part of a company like Herbalife, who's been around for, I don't know, 30, 40 years, and multi-billion-dollar corporation every single year. You know, do you know how they started? Do you know how Herbalife started? Mr. Mark Hughes, before he passed, he used to talk about it. I watched his video presentation. He talks about how when he started Herbalife, he was literally selling their diet product in the back of his trunk. His first customer, his grandmother. He said, "Grandma, you fat. We need to lose some weight. Take this product." He said that's the short version. That's the short version of what he told him. But just think about that. You know, starting in the back of his trunk, trunk of his car, starting out of trunk of his car to, you know, even after he passed away, multi-billion-dollar annual revenue company. changing people's lives all over the world. Isn't that incredible? Isn't that incredible? You know, so even the company that I've spent 15 and a half years with, they talk about it at their convention, every convention. They say, when we first started, 1,500 square foot office, one desk, one room, 4 founders or 5 founders. They had to literally change the nameplate, depends who they came to see. You know, and talking about the initial very first company video was recorded over videotapes. And 30 seconds of it was Woody Woodpecker. Not have the logistic warehouse, and they used the closet for that. And they said it was so hot, and they just, the printers just printed the materials, and they're all stuck together because it was in a closet, and they moved it to. I mean, they talked about how rough the beginning was. Many of you saw pictures of how Amazon started in a little tiny room, how Apple and Facebook literally started in a garage or dorm room. That's how majority of opportunities begin. Do you have better vision sight than you do with your eyesight? Can you see before it actually happens? If you could see before it becomes obvious to everybody else, and if you could see the vision of GPS, if you could be part of, you could not just join, not just to participate, not to dip your toe in it, but if you could fully engage right now and build GPS opportunity with us and become, hey, somebody said, who's a leader? Everybody right now is a leader. Who's a founding member? Everybody right now that's on this call is a founding member. Every single one of you. There's nobody ahead of you. There's nobody in America that knew about this opportunity, that have been an influencer with this opportunity really longer than you. There isn't a single person in the company in America who's been in the opportunity more than 10 days. You are first. You are right here at the beginning. So think big, be a pioneer. Just like I started my career 20 years ago in a living room with the flip phone, Nextel speakerphone. I want you to build your story. How great is your story gonna be? You started in an opportunity that started during pandemic. Do you know how amazing your story is going to be? You started in a brand new opportunity during quarantine, which was the first time and hopefully the last time you ever had to quarantine for a couple months. You couldn't see anybody, you couldn't physically talk to anybody. Everything had to be done on the phone or Zoom or some way, digitally and virtually. And you were the very first to distribute. Right now, majority of people you know don't have VR. In the future, you know everybody's gonna have it. When everybody sees it, forever and ever, you're gonna be reminded, and you'll be reminding people, hey, I was one of the first distributors of VR in this country. Imagine if you had the story of, hey, I was one of the very first people to distribute TVs in this country. If somebody told you that story, would you be interested in hearing that story? Well, you have that opportunity with VR technology. And in my opinion, this is the biggest thing that ever happened in my short 37 years of my life. And I'm telling you, I believe that this will be the biggest thing, biggest technology shift we have ever seen in our lifetime, and we will see for another decade. So in closing this morning, because we're gonna see each other again tomorrow morning with better internet experience, better internet environment tomorrow, because I don't know if I'm skipping, but for sure, those of you I'm looking at, you skipping. Here's the last thing that I wanna share with you. Actually, one of my pastors at church, she commented on one of my posts a couple of days ago, and that's where I got this message. She said, you're gonna be recorded in the history history for starting a company, starting these 3 countries, starting a business during pandemic. Not in 1 country, but in 3 countries. She said, man, it takes a fearless person to do so. And my response back was, we all should be fearless as long as we are faithful. And I believe that every single one of you and every single one of us, including me, are created in this world for purpose and created on this, put on this planet to make an impact, positive impact to others and to the world, to the community. And you know, I believe with everything in me that the future that I see, the vision that I see, I'm meant to do what I'm doing. And if you see the same vision, and if your faith towards that becoming a reality is full, there is no room in you for fear, which makes you fearless. When you are challenging yourself, when you're working on yourself, when you're going out there and doing things to make your life better, and doing things that other people are not doing yet. You may have some people tell you crazy things, but be fearless. Other people's opinion of you, other people's opinion of what you're doing does not have to affect the value of what you're doing. Other people's opinion of me, other people's opinion of my vision has nothing to do with my future. You decide, and you decide what to accept, you decide what to ignore. I want to encourage every single one of you as we start this GPS opportunity together in America, have bulletproof mindset. Nobody else could distract your life. Nobody else could hurt your life. Don't let anyone, don't let any circumstance, don't let any situation hurt you. Let everything motivate you. Let everything teach you. Let everything grow you. Let everything develop you. Let everything that happens, not let it happen to you, but let it happen for you to go out and live better. You know how boring life would be if life didn't have difficulties? That's why Jim Rohn said his best description of life is opportunities mixed with difficulties. Difficulties is what makes our opportunities, what makes our life better. It's Mr. Jim Rohn said, would there be success if there was no failure? He said, I wouldn't think so. Would there be happiness if there was anger, if there was an anger or disappointment or sadness? He didn't think so. You know, there would be no winning if there was no such a thing as losing. And losing is good for you because it's an opportunity to make you better. And, you know, as I mentioned a few days ago, even on a different call, that I believe the world teaches you love by putting somebody in your life that you have the hardest time loving. World teaches you patience by putting situations in your life that are most difficult for you to be patient with. It's the opposition. It's the opposite of what you want to learn and become that teaches you what you actually want to learn and become. So more failures you experience, more success you're going to learn. More disappointments that you experience, more happiness and gratitude and more excitement and more fulfillment you're going to experience. So more toughness that you experience, stronger you become. And that's how I want all the GPS influencers around the world to be, because eventually it's products are important, compensation plans are important, companies are important, but the most important factor of your business and your life is you. So let this opportunity grow you, not just your bank account, not just your customer base, but grow you more important than anything else. So thank you for tuning in this morning to our Good Morning GPS episode 1. Tomorrow morning, We'll do our episode 2. I have a different message. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking a lot about VR industry. We're going to grow and dig into the industry of VR because some of us are brand new to VR industry, not sure what's available, not sure what's not available, not sure what technologies already exist and what the technologies of the future is going to be. Tomorrow, it's going to be learning and educational time for virtual reality for you to understand the industry better and truly understand the future of GPS and VR Loop better. So appreciate you having me, Mr. Michael on. Appreciate every single one of you tuning in. I am beyond excited to be able to spend a few minutes with every single one of you every morning for the next 3 days. So God bless you. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Good Morning GPS episode 2. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Danny Bay. Hey, everybody, I know we just got some great information from Mr. Danny Bay. Tomorrow, same time, but I also remind everybody tonight at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time, we're going to be having our presentation for GPS. Let's invite, let's make sure everybody gets on it, and let's close some business and start off tomorrow morning just like we did today. So we'll see you guys in a few hours at our event. God bless you guys. Let's have a great day. Thank you, Mr. Danny Bay.
Thank you. I see you, Edward Smith. I see you, Rod Bailey. Have a great day, everybody.